Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Johnson. One of the most important things that bother you about the abundant life, for the life that you're probably looking for, that you haven't experienced yet, is the fact that you want a life full of prosperity. All of us are looking for prosperity. All of us want to be prosperous. The problem is that prosperity has different meanings to different people. And although you come from one background and one experience, your mate comes from another background or another experience. Or the one you're looking for comes from another background, another experience. Even more difficult than that is understanding that your children, though you seem to give them the same background, are actually going through different experiences and backgrounds themselves because they have different feelings. They don't feel the same way you do. You get hit with a ball from the sky in your head. You don't know where it came from, but you know you've got some pain and you've got some different emotions to hide why you feel the pain. Your child gets hit with a ball from the head as well. Not the same ball, but a different one. Meaning that because he's in a different circumstance, even though the same thing happened to him that happened to you, the experience is different. His feelings are different than yours. Though you get hit with a very similar experience, you assume, because he grew up in the same house that you grew up in, that your experiences are the same, and they are not. That's why very often children will leave their family, or very often why there's so many divorces, because we think about life in different directions. Some people who talk about marriage are talking about an entirely different life than what their mate is talking about, and until they know each other and understand each other, and even then they find out their experience is still totally different. I know that sounds complicated, but it's not really. It's merely explaining that you are different from everybody else. How you respond to life and what happens in your life is different than nobody, no matter how close they are to you. It's different for them in their emotions, different from them in their experience, different from them in their body temperature, and because they're different, that means that what they go through, even though it be similar to yours, is not what you go through. If the two of you experienced a boat going underwater, God forbid, and you're about to drown, were you able to survive and then sit down and talk about the same experience, you would find that your mate, whoever it was that was drowning with you, would write a different description than you would, because their experience is different from yours, and their fear is different from yours. One could be a very good swimmer and find it to be an experience that she delights in. Another could be a very poor swimmer, and that's what she feared all her life, that she was going to drown. So even though your experience seems the same, you're different. Now that's important to understand, especially when you're trying to understand your own prosperity. You want to be prosperous, and so does Jesus. He said, I have come that you might have life, and that you might have it more abundantly. We want to be prosperous. We want to be okay. But prosperity is different to you than it is to me. And when Jesus says he's going to take care of our prosperity, he means different things to different people. When he talks about peace, what gives you peace is not the same thing that gives me peace. Peace for you might be a very clean, neat home. Peace for me might be wandering in the outdoors, or riding a horse, or getting on a motorcycle. It means that prosperity is an entirely different thing to you than it is to me. And as you talk and listen to evangelicals explain to you about their conversion experience or their meeting with God, they can't explain to you how different their experience is to you, because their difference in coming to Christ is different than yours. Now, let me make this clear if I can. When you come to Christ, it's an entirely individual and different experience. And prosperity is defined by two words, all being different to each other. Prosperity is a lot of money, and prosperity is a lot of emotional security. And it's possible to be without one and still be happy. In other words, maybe you don't need a lot of money. Maybe you don't find yourself motivated by money. And there are people like that are not motivated by how much money they have, and therefore their interest is not in getting a lot of money, but it's interested in getting security. They want a nice home. They want something paid for, a nice car, everything up to date and working. But on the other hand, there are those who will argue with you, well, the only way you can have that is by having a lot of money, paying the bills on time, fixing the machines, doing what you have to do to make life work. Here's my point. No matter who you are, Jesus understands your need for prosperity. He understands your need for security and for money. He understands your need to feel like your life inside is together and like you're not necessarily insecure. And that's why Jesus said, I have come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. Now, to every one of us, that means something different. To me, prosperity is different than money, is different than security, and for my background and choice of favoritism, I choose what I like and what I'm looking for, and so do you. And you may not be choosing the right person for your life, or the reason you didn't have a successful marriage because you chose the wrong person. What their prosperity means is not yours. So, just a side tip, if you're going to get married, it's a good idea to sit down and ask the deep question, a 4-hour conversation of what is prosperity to you? What's important to you? Money? Security? Success? Insecurity? What is it that makes you happy or unhappy? Now that's a long, deep question, but it's one that you need to ask and have encountered if you're going to consider a long-term relationship. Same thing with your kids. You need to sit down and say to them, what is your prosperity needs? You need security? Do you need money? Now, depending on their age, they'll tell you different things because we grow in different passages, and that's the second important part of your prosperity understanding, that life comes in passages and comes in time, so that the person that God intends for you to meet, or the people that God intends for you to meet, church you join, house you buy, neighborhood you live in, all these people are different. Just like school. Your child grows up in a different school every year because there's different people and different choices, and they become insecure or secure from some of their personal experiences and how they react to it. So what's the difference? The difference is understanding that Jesus understands these choices. He understands the differences you are going through. He understands the problems you are facing. And he understands how much you can love him and how much even more he loves you. You are the whole reason for his existence. Now, he existed long before you did because he existed forever. And how does that work? I don't know. I don't know how he lives forever. But he makes it very clear, I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. You either got to take what he says as truth, or you got to argue with it until you do understand its truth, or you got to just say it's a lie and doesn't make any sense. And whatever you do will determine your own definition of prosperity. Is there a God? Does God care? Does he handle evil? Those are big questions that you have to ask yourself and determine whether you're right or wrong by yourself. very personal. For me, personal experience was when I was 15 and I heard the simple message, I'd never heard it before, that Jesus died on a cross for my sins, rose from the dead, and has conquered everything. He is the judge, the king, and the creator. The more I studied the Bible, the more I came to understand that Jesus honestly cares about who I am and what I'm doing. And he honestly cares about you and who you are and what you're doing. He wants to make you secure. He wants you to be able to pay your bills. He wants you to understand what life is about and to be happy in that life, but only you, in working with him, can put yourself in that position. So your security and your prosperity is very dependent on the decisions that you and Jesus have to make together. When Jesus confronted the most religious man of his day, Nicodemus, he explained to Nicodemus that Nicodemus would have to make a choice. Either you love God or you love man. Either you cling to life or you cling to death. He that has the Son of God has life. He that has not the Son of God has not life, but the wrath of God abideth in him. So prosperity obviously depends on what you depend, on what you want and what you need. Jesus will meet those needs. He understands your problems. He realizes you're different, and he's anxious to meet your need. Give him a chance. Try him. Ask him into your heart. Ask him if he can change my life. See if there's a possibility that God is what you're missing. And see if God can't take care of some of your insecurities. You'll find out that God loves you, that he wants to take care of you. When I was 15, and I heard that Jesus loved me and wanted to come into my heart, I simply said to him, okay, I never heard that before. Jesus, if you want to come into my heart and life, do it. I'm yours. Come on. And never has Jesus ever left me from that day on. He came into my heart. He changed my life. My life wasn't totally changed. I still have the same parents. I still had to go to the same school. I still have the same demands that I had before I went to that church for that meeting. The difference was that I knew that God loved me. And that'll be your difference. Whatever you're going through, whatever kind of problems you've got, whatever money bills you can't pay, whatever sicknesses or problems in health that you have, once you come in contact with Jesus, you'll be fine. He'll take care of you. He promised that he would take care of you. Ask Jesus into your heart. Give him a chance, and then you'll know what real prosperity is.